All right, welcome back to the channel. This was going to be a fun one, and we knew this was coming. Teddy Atlas responds to Errol Spence Jr.'s destruction of Danny Garcia by playing Captain Saver, H.O., and begging Manny Pacquiao not to fight Errol Spence Jr. because he will be destroyed. Let's talk about Teddy Atlas and what he had to say in this video. Bit my tongue. In this video. All right. Welcome back to the channel. So, you guys may not remember this, but there's something called Captain Saver HO. And what it is this, it's a saying that pretty much means that there are people out there that are doing things that may eventually hurt them, but that's the decision that they're making. But some people just they want to interject themselves in the middle of somebody else's life and try to save them from themselves, right? Try to get them not to do the things that they're doing that may cause them harm, right? Now, I'm being a little bit, PG rated in that, but you get what I mean. And that is what Teddy Atlas is doing for Manny Pacquiao. On his show, which I do believe came out this morning, Teddy Atlas is asked by Mike Rideout. I like that dude's name, man. It's hard to believe, for me to believe that's his real name because it's just such a dope name, Rideout. I wish my name was Fanon Rideout. You gotta be riding out. Now, watch his name be something different than Rideout. But regardless, the guy that asked the question to Teddy was like, hey, what do you think about the fight? And they immediately start going into, kind of hater mode because I'm telling you, man, they're on that side of the fence, people. I'm saying they're on that side of the fence. They may jump over from topic to topic, but nah, those dudes are firmly over there. And so they start talking about pretty much trying to find a way to down talk the PBC. So they say, hey, Errol Spence Jr. won this fight. This is a fight that we really want to see. Next is the Terrence Crawford fight. That's a fight that we really want to see. Now, if you've not noticed, that's what ESPN is pitching. That's what Yahoo is pitching. And now that is what Teddy Atlas and those guys are pitching. As if they have ever really tried to push for anybody to fight Terrence Crawford. The only reason, in my opinion, that they're trying to find these other people to say that Errol needs to fight is to find some way to diminish Errol Spence Jr. and essentially call him a duck while he's at the height. Well, maybe he's not at the height of his career, but he is about as high as anybody else is in boxing. So they start doing that with Terrence Crawford and say, that for the first time, Mark, I do believe his name is, Mark said, well, for the first time in a long time, Fox actually listed Terrence Crawford as a champion where they hadn't done that before. Like, dude, first of all, I think they might have missed that once, maybe twice tops, but Errol Spence Jr. has been mentioning Terrence Crawford for a while, and Terrence Crawford was actually at the fight. So that's probably why they made sure that they mentioned him, because he was sitting there and the camera was on him and the crowd was booing. A huge amount of people were booing him, right? That's probably why they mentioned him. But Teddy and Mark or Mike say, hey, that's the fight we really want to fight. See, now I don't have a problem with that because most people who are fans of boxing should want to see Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford fight because they are the best welterweights. At least it looks at the moment as if they are the best welterweights. Terrence Crawford has some people that he could fight, not named Errol Spence, but still the consensus is, well, I don't care about the consensus. My thought on the matter is that those are the top two guys. However, they are not the only people with the belt, and that is not the biggest fight that can be made at 147 pounds. The biggest fight that can be made at 147 pounds is Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao, and Teddy Atlas was begging Manny Pacquiao not to take that fight. He starts talking about Manny Pacquiao like, Manny Pacquiao, but you can kind of tell in the back of his mind, he's like, God dog, but he's with Al Heyman, but I got to say it because I got to find some way. Keep this dude Errol Spence Jr. from getting that torch passed to him, right? Because Errol Spence Jr., I know Errol Spence Jr. will mount Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao probably knows Errol Spence Jr. will mount mop Manny Pacquiao. Everybody who ain't named Pacquiao or living in the Philippines knows Errol Spence Jr. is going to rout that little dude. Little old dude is about to get routed because that is not Keith Thurman in front of him. So, but knowing that more than likely is the outcome of the fight, what then would be the outcome of the fight, like as far as like the name recognition and the popularity of Errol Spence Jr. if that fight happens with Manny Pacquiao? What would happen? Errol Spence knocks out, ends the career of Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford too, either one of them, do that to Manny Pacquiao, but Errol is the big money, right? The huge money. Teddy is asking Manny Pacquiao to pass up all that money. Save your legacy. Do not get knocked out and laid out. We don't want to see you sprawled out, Manny. Please don't. Go fight somebody easy. You're too big for boxing. You're too important to fight the best fights. What does that sound like? That sounds like some franchise champion protectionism from that the WBC was doing for Canelo Alvarez. The argument that they made for making Lomachenko a franchise champion is the same argument that Teddy Atlas is making for Manny Pacquiao not to fight Errol Spence Jr. It is just incredible how some of the biggest fights in boxing just shouldn't happen because the loss for that fighter is it's just too much. Boxing couldn't stand it. We have to have a franchise for Canelo. He can't fight Jamal. He can't fight Jamal. We know that may be a great fight, but it's too important for boxing. He's too big. His legacy is too great. So he needs to go fight Callum Smith and Rocky Fielding and a washed-up alcoholic Sergey Kovalev, right? And that's what we really need. We don't really need the great fights because the icons can't lose. What would boxing do if the icons got mopped? I don't know. Start watching the guy that mopped the icon? What do you mean? But that's what they do. But notice who all these people are that they're saying that don't deserve the fights, right? Now, maybe this is coincidence, but I don't think so. With Canelo Alvarez, Jamal Charlo was the guy that, he's just too big to make the fight with Jamal, even though Jamal and him have been in the same weight class. Jamal is a very well-known fighter, clearly one of the best guys at 160. This would clearly be a great fight, but no, we can't do it. The WBC, we've got to play Captain Savinello, right? Captain Savinello. Then he goes over there then we go to the WBC at lightweight. And what happens? Devin Haney is the mandatory for Vasily Lomachenko. What do they pay? Captain Saviloma. And escort him away from and protect him from Devin Haney. And then feed him over there to a top-ranked in-house fight so he can lose comfortably over there. But then when Teofimo Lopez becomes a champion, what is it? Well, what happens? Well, we can't fight Devin Haney. Listen to what Teddy's saying. Errol Spence Jr. is a pound-for-pound. He's a pound-for-pound player for sure, right? Universally recognized as a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. He's one of the biggest draws in boxing. He just had a crowd of 17,000 in a stadium like they say they want. Ooh, we need these stadium stars like AJ. Well, Errol Spence is a stadium star. He's got his own stadium in his own backyard that he can go fight at. Don't you want to see that? Isn't that big for boxing? Aren't those big fights what everybody wants? No, that's not what we want because Errol will win that fight. And we will lose our icon, Manny, who we sell as being the greatest fighters since Ali. Dude, he lost to Juan Manuel Marquez knocked out flat on his face. How much more damage can Errol Spence do to Manny Pacquiao than Juan Manuel Marquez did when he had him sleeping like on his nose, like nose flat on the canvas. Didn't break his weight, just fell asleep as soon as the punch landed. Now, could Errol do that to him again? Most certainly. However, dude, Manny already lost. He lost to him. He lost to Floyd. You just don't, what's up? Why don't you want Errol Spence Jr. and these guys, these American fans, fighters to be stars? Why Keith Thurman already didn't get the torch passed to him by Mayweather, who's running around fighting Jake Logan, Logan Paul, and Conor McGregor, and Tekashi 6ix9ine out in Japan, whatever his name is, all this nonsense. Because you don't want to see this young champion Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford take over the sport because they're the best in it. And if they're allowed to fight a guy like Manny Pacquiao, who has that reputation, who has that resume, all that's going to transition over to that other fighter, and they will be the star. And y'all don't want that because they're over at the PBC and they're not with the people that are usually, the good old boy network that you like to swing with. Anyway, that's my take on the scenario. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.